The next video is on properties of binary operation. Basically there are 4 properties, and these 4 are the properties of binary operation. The first one is commutative property, the second one is associative property, the third one is existence of identity element, and the fourth one is existence of inverse element. The first of all, we are coming to commutative property. So this property says that if we take any binary operation, say star, on some non-empty set S, then star is commutative if for any two elements A and B from S, we will get A star B is equal to B star A. That means the order of the elements taken is not a factor in this case. So if after reversing the order, if the results are same, that is A star B and B star A are equal, then we can say that the operation star is a commutative operation. For example, addition. Addition on R and all its subsets. Multiplication on R and all its subsets. These are always commutative. But what about multiplication on M in R? Means the set of all matrices of order n. Is matrix multiplication commutative? It is not commutative. And okay, another say, what about subtraction? Say we are taking on Z. Is it commutative? No, it's not, because A minus B and B minus A are not same. So in this manner we can check whether a binary operation is commutative or not. Okay, next one is associative. So again, suppose we are taking the binary operation star on some non-NP set S, then it is called associative if star is associative if for any 3 elements A, B, C. Always remember that for commutativity we need 2 elements, for associativity we need 3 elements, such that A star B star C and A star B star C are equal. That means you can change the position of the bracket, it will not affect the result. See, in case of minus, negative or subtraction, we see that this will not hold clearly, because if we take here minus and here minus, so finally out of the bracket it will be plus, but here both the sign will remain minus. So clearly subtraction is not an associative property, associative operation. Similarly, many more operations are associative, we know, such that these 2 examples, addition and subtraction plus dot on R, are associative. Matrix addition and multiplication both are associative. Okay, so In this manner we can see also, let me write here, subtraction on any set, say on Z, say, is not associative. So these are some examples of associative property, associative operation and non-associative operations. Okay, the third property is the existence of identity element. Now what this says is that for some operation star on some non-empty set S, if we can find some element, say E, usually denoted by E, it is the standard notation for identity element. If we can find some E in S such that for all elements we can say A star E and E star A both will become A. So for every element A we can say that if A star E and E star A are both equal, means the operation will be associative for this element and it will result in A. If this happens, then we can say that the element E is the identity element. One thing, always remember that this element should always be unique, means for every binary operation there should be only one identity element if it exists. If it not exists, there is no question of more than one identity, but if it is existing, then there should be only one identity element. If you are getting for some binary operation more than one identity element, then we will say that the identity element will not exist. So for example, let us take for addition first. So suppose we are taking the identity element as E, then we can say A plus E is equal to A is equal to E plus A. Now see, solving this we can get E equals to 0. This is belonging to any set except the set of natural numbers. So we can say that class will be having identity element on Z, R and all higher sets, say also Q, but not in the set of natural numbers. So addition has no identity element in the set of natural numbers, but in Z, R, Q it has the identity element 0. Usually 0 is called the additive identity, because in case of every number operation, numerical operations, this becomes the identity element. So for product, what is the identity element? You can say AE equals to A equals to EA. So we can say E will be 1 if A is not equals to 0, because we have to cancel out A. If A is being 0, then we cannot cancel it out. So for A not equals to 0, we can say E will be 1. So in most of the cases where we are defining multiplication on those sets, usually E will become 1. Okay, so this is the identity element in case of multiplication. That's why it is called the multiplicative identity. Okay, so this is the multiplicative identity, and next we come to, suppose this is number 1, this is number 2, number 3 we are talking about matrix multiplication. So we will say that we are taking two matrices, say A and B. So if AB equals to A, then we can say B is nothing but I. B is nothing but I. That means I is the identity element of order n. So here we can say the identity element is itself the identity matrix, or so we can say that the identity matrix is itself the identity element in case of matrix multiplication. And what is the case of matrix addition? It will be clearly the zero matrix. So number 4, composition of functions. So if we take that f from a to a is a function, then and say this is the function composition, then we will see that for some operation, say g, this is also a function from a to a. We will see that f compose g equals to f. This will imply that g is nothing but the identity map on a. So this is a function from a to a that is giving f of I of x equal to x. So this mapping becomes the identity element. So this is the nothing but the identity map. So the identity map becomes the identity element in case of function composition, and identity matrix in case of matrix multiplication becomes the identity element. So these are some interesting results depending on the fourth property is existence of inverse element. So how we are going to define inverse elements? It's something different from inverse maps or inverse element in case of maps. We define this with the operation say star on some non-empty set S. We will say that B is the inverse element of A, and it will be denoted by this symbol if for each A belongs to S, we can say that A star B will be the identity element, and also B star A will be the same identity element. E is the identity element. So clearly you can understand that to find the inverse element, first of all we have to find the identity element E. After that we can, putting the value of E in this equation, we can solve the equation for B, and then we are finding the identity element. So instead of B, if we write A inverse, then we can write the identity like this: A inverse equals to E equals to A inverse A. So we can also write this one. We don't need to write B all the time. We can directly write A inverse. So from solving this equation, we have to find the value of A inverse. So if we can find some A inverse, again it will be an unique one. For each element there will be only one A inverse. Okay, so now come to some examples. Suppose again we are considering addition. So suppose we are writing that A plus A inverse equals to, what is the identity element in case of addition? It is 0. So we can clearly say that A inverse means here minus A. So additive inverse means the negative of the element. So A inverse equal to minus A is called the additive inverse. So again you can see that in case of natural numbers, this additive inverse do not exist. Additive inverse do not exist. So number 2, it is the product. So in case of product, what we can write, A inverse equal to What is the identity element? It is 1, and it is also A inverse A. So we can clearly say A inverse means 1 by A if it is not equals to 0. So except 0 for each of the element, so for each of the non-zero elements we can find a multiplicative identity. So A inverse equals to 1 by A. These are called multiplicative identity. Sorry, multiplicative inverse. Okay, so this is called the multiplicative inverse on the number sets. Number 3, we are talking about matrix inverse. See, this is the situation from where the matrix inverse is coming. So how we are defining the matrix inverse? That if we are taking two matrices from the set M and R, and we can say that AB equals to I, then B is equal to BA, then we say that B is nothing but the A inverse. This is the definition of matrix inverse. What we calculate by adjoint A into determinant A, and what is the adjoint formula for inverse? It is some formula, it is not the definition. The definition is this, where we say that since matrix multiplication is an binary operation, and in case of matrix multiplication the identity element is I, so we can say that if we can find some matrix B for each matrix A such that this is happening, then we can say B is nothing but the inverse of A. So this is the definition for matrix inverse. So clearly by the formula we realize that this inverse will exist only for non-singular matrices. Okay. Number 4, it is the inverse functions. So again we are taking the set F, which is the collection of all functions from A to A, and we take two functions, say F and G, such that F compose G is the identity map on A and it is equal to G compose F. See, this is the definition for inverse also in terms of composition, that if this happens then we can say that G is nothing but F inverse. So that's how the inverse of a function is defined using the composition of two functions. So these are some interesting examples in case of inverse elements. So if the inverse for each element exists, then we can say that the operation is invertible for each element. Otherwise it will be invertible for only particular elements. Okay, there is another topic, it's called the composition table of a binary operation. So suppose we are again taking a binary operation star on some finite set S. So always remember that this composition table will be valid only for finite sets. If we are taking some infinite set like n, z, r, matrix sets, function sets, then this composition table is not valid, because we have to write all the elements in the table. So if there are finite number of elements, then only it is possible. In case of infinite elements, it is not possible. So what we will do, say the set S is nothing but x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. So with the help of this composition table, we can express all the operations on this set, all the results of the binary operation star on the set S. So how to express it? We will draw a table. In the intersection of row and column, we will write the operation name, and the elements accordingly to this row and also in the column. Now we will be having the operation rule separately in the sum. Then we have to only fill up the table with the operations. So in this cell we will put the value of x1 star x1, whatever it is. Here x1 star x2, here x1 star x3, x1 star x4, x1 star x5. Similarly, in the second row it will be x2 star x1, x2 star x2, x2 star x3, x2 star x4, x2 star x5. And similarly for all the cells, in the last cell it will be x5 star x1, x5 star x2, x5 star x3, x5 star x4 and x5 star x5. So this table is called a composition table for the operation star, and depending on this table we can say some facts about the operation, or we can say some properties of the operation, whether they are fulfilling or not. The number one is commutative. See, if x1 star x2 and x2 star x1 are equal, then we can say, and similarly for all the elements, if these are equal, then we can say the operation is commutative. Now see, along the diagonal, these are x1 star x1, x2 star x2 and similarly x5 star x5. So this will be always commutative, because if you reverse the order it is the same thing. Now for other elements you will realize that it will be happening like this, that if the table is symmetrical in terms of matrix symmetry, if the table is symmetrical about the diagonal, means if you fold the table like this, the same element will go to the equal elements will be overlapping. So this will go here, 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 this one is here, and this one will be going here. So if this is happening, then we can say that the table is symmetrical about the diagonal. If this is happening, then we can say that the operation is commutative. Table is symmetric about its diagonal, then we are saying that the operation is commutative. In case of associativity, we don't have any such easy way to check whether it is associative or not, but in case of identity element we will see there is an easy process. So, identity. So what is the operation? What is the definition of identity? That A star E equal to E star A equals to A. So this have to happen. Now see here, if any one of these is identity element, say we are saying x2, then what should be the result here? If x2 is the identity element, okay, take x1, it will be easier. If x1 is the identity element, then x1 star x1 will be x1, x1 star x2 will be x2, x1 star x3 will be x3, x1 star x4 will be x4, x1 star x5 will be x5. So this same order will repeat again in the row of the identity element. So wherever this order is repeating, we will say the corresponding element here in this column will be the identity element. I think you all have understood what I am trying to say. So this is the way to find the identity element from the composition table. Now once we have found the identity element, to find the inverse is become very easy, because the definition is that A star B will be E and also B star A will be E. So if somewhere you are finding the value E in the table, say here we are having this one to be E somehow, then we can say x2 is the inverse of x2 from this case. Suppose we are having E here, then we will say x3 whose intersection is this, x3 and x4. So we will say x3 star x4 is E and also x4 star x3 is E. So we can say that x3 and x4 are the inverse of each other. Okay, so this is the process to find the inverse element. First of all, we find wherever E is occurring in the rows or in the columns. So if in some row E is occurring, then the corresponding elements of that row will be the inverses of each other. Okay, so let us do an example here. Okay, so this is the example that AS is 1, minus 1, I minus I, these 4 elements where I is the root over of minus 1 and star is the complex multiplication. And we know what are the powers of I square is minus 1, I cube is minus I to the power 4 is 1, and I means root over of minus 1. So with these 4 multiplication results, we can construct the composition table of this operation. So we will write star here, the elements here, also here. Sorry, I minus I. So now make the table. Okay, so see, this is the composition table, and first of all we have to check whether it is commutative or not. So draw the diagonal. Now see, this table is symmetric about the diagonal. Is it clear? So the table is commutative. So number 1, it is commutative. What is the next one? The identity element. So see, this order has to be repeated. Where it is repeating? In the first row. So we can say 1 is the identity element. Okay. Also, now for inverse elements, we have to locate where these identity elements are occurring. Always remember that in each row it will occur only once. So these are the identity elements. Now for here, what elements are there? 1 and 1. So we can say that 1 inverse is nothing but 1. Similarly, in the second case, it is minus 1 and minus 1. So we can also say minus 1 inverse is minus 1. In the third case, where it is here, so here what are the elements? I and minus I. So we can say I inverse is minus I. And in the fourth case, minus I and I. So we can say minus I inverse is I. So these are the 4 identity inverses of the elements. 1 is the identity, the table is commutative, and also we will see that this operation is multiplication operation is usually associative. So these are the 4 properties of the operation, and they are holding all the 4 operations. So these are the topics of binary operation. In the next class or in the assignments, I will give some problems, so we will solve them later.